Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am super excited to share with you a project, a Halloween card. We're using some candy corn. We're using the Say It With Stamps candy corn background stamp. Now I have a little confession to make. I love creating with candy corn, but I just don't like eating it. But candy corn is super fun to play with because I love the yellows and the oranges, and I'm going to create a background with our candy corn background stamp. We're going to pair that with a die. This came out last year, and this is the Say It With Stamps candy corn die set. I thought we would do a little spinning today, and so we're going to create a spinner card. We're going to need a background for that spinner, and that's where this stamp comes in handy. So let's take this out and bring in our stamping positioner, and we're going to just remove it off of the acetate. I always keep it on the protective acetate because it's nice for storage. But I'm going to place this on some white cardstock. The cardstock that I am using is alcohol marker friendly. We'll just press this down really good. And I'm going to bring in an alcohol marker friendly ink. We're just using black ink today. And we're going to ink up our background, and we are going to stamp this on our cardstock. You'll notice that I did not go all the way to the corner over here. I did that intentional because I want to make sure that I get full coverage on my A2 panel. An A2 panel is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So this is going to go completely over my card front. We'll just press down really good. Make sure we get all those corners. And it stamps lovely. We'll go ahead and set this off to the side, and we're going to color in our candy corns. Now there is a lot of candy corns on this panel. Okay, to color in my background panel, these are the markers that I'm going to be using. Let me let this focus here. We have some oranges and some yellows, and I'm just going to color in a couple of my candy corn, and then I'll do the rest off camera. Since they're all going to be the same, I can save a little bit of time that way. While I color in, I'll play a little bit of music, and then when I'm done coloring, I will get you back. Finished up my coloring. Let's zoom back out a little bit. Now you'll notice I didn't do the inside, but I'm not worried about that because we're going to be die cutting this out. Okay, so coloring is done. I just love the way they look. Now speaking of die cutting, we're going to grab our candy corn die. This is a 4-piece set. To create the candy corn, it's very easy. You're going to need yellow cardstock, orange, and white. And I'm going to die cut out 2 of the main candy corn triangle here with white cardstock. And then with these extra pieces, the tip of the candy corn is going to be white. I'm going to die cut out 2 of these. The bottom will be yellow. I'll die cut out 2 of these. And then the orange, I'll die cut out 2 of the orange. Now since we have large pieces of cardstock, we might as well create our frame for our window. To create our frame, I'm bringing in our A2 rounded rectangles. I've been using these a lot lately, and I just love them. We're going to create a frame with the smallest. Okay, I'm going to bring in 2 sizes that are right next to each other, and I'm going to die cut out a frame here. Since I'm not using the inside, I'm going to use the candy corn die on the inside to create the frame. And then I'll take the inside smallest frame, and I want a slightly larger frame, so I'll go back to my die set and take the next size up. And we can actually probably die cut out 2 of these in here too. And I'm going to create a thicker frame with these. So a thicker frame, and then 2 of the bottom candy corn pieces, a thinner frame, 2 of the middle candy corn pieces, 2 of the top white, and then 2 of the background white. I have a little bit of die cutting to do, and I will be right back. I ran everything through my die cut machine. This is the thinner frame, and this is the thicker frame. We're going to go ahead and layer both of these together just with a little bit of glue. Since we used the small frame, the inside of the window is the same size. That's this one here. Now I kept this frame out because we're going to be using that on our background panel and our card base. There's our beautiful frame that looks just like candy corn. That's going to go perfect. Now before we create our candy corn, I do want to add a little bit of shading to our candy corn. Just a little bit, and I'm going to use the ink that's just left over on my daubers here. And this is just going to give us a little bit of dimension. And then we have a little bit of yellow. And I'm not worried about the white. If you wanted to add a little bit of gray to the white, you could, but white's just going to stand out. Now we're going to go ahead and adhere our pieces to our background. I'm going to use my tape runner. And we'll finish up with our top layer. Wonderful. Creating a spinner with the candy corns is super easy because they're symmetrical. Now to create our spinner, you're going to need some twine. I just have some white twine, and I'm going to use my tape runner, tape up the back of both. You don't have to do both, but I like to kind of do overkill with my spinner because you don't want it spinning away. Okay, after we have adhesive on both sides, I have my white twine. I'm going to put it right down the middle. And then I'm going to sandwich my twine in between the two. Super, really fun. Okay, now we're going to need our card base. We're going to create a window in our panel, but also in our card base. To do that, it's very easy. I'm going to layer them together. And again, I'm using the smallest window die for my rounded rectangles to create the window in my card front and my colored in panel. We're going to take our card base. We're using a side folding card base today. I left it open, and I'm going to layer my panel. You can even lightly tack it if you wanted to. Just use a little bit of adhesive. Tack it to the very front, like so. And then take your die and go ahead and line it up in the center where you want to put it. You can even tape it down just so it doesn't shift or move. Wonderful. So I have my panel and my card base. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine and I will be right back. I ran it through my die cut machine. You may have to run it through a few times, but then we can go ahead and put this away. If you wanted to finish coloring in this panel, you could. And now we have a perfectly positioned window and background. I'm going to go ahead and remove my panel here from my card base. I'm going to go ahead and adhere my frame. We'll just use some more glue. We'll tack this down. Wonderful. Now I'm going to flip this panel around, and then I'm going to add foam adhesive behind here. But before we do that, I'm going to take my spinner. I'm going to put the twine right down the middle. Let's add some adhesive to the top and the bottom of our frame on the reverse side. And then I'm going to lightly tack my spinner where I want it to go. I'm going to use my scissors and trim away the twine that's overhanging here on the top and bottom of my frame. And then I can take foam tape and put it right all around the back side of this. I went ahead and removed the release paper off of my frame. I went kind of crazy with the foam tape and filled it in really good. That's because there's some kinetic motion that's going to be happening with our card, and I wanted to make sure it was really stable and secure. So let's turn around our frame. We're going to adhere this to the front of our card base. We're going to line up those windows. Tack this down right to the front. And how fun is this? Now, I don't know if you guys have ever made a spinner before, but it's very easy. All you do is turn it. You're twisting that twine here and here. And then when you mail it, you'll mail it secure like this. And then when the recipient opens it, it will spin. Super fun. We're going to add a few more bells and whistles though before we finish off the card. I wanted a sentiment, but I don't want to add any sentiment to the front. So we're going to use a background stamp for our sentiment. So I'm going to put this off to the side. For my sentiment, I'm bringing in a background stamp. This is the Say It With Stamp SCRIPTY Thanks. I love the sentiments in here. I don't know if you can read them, but there are sentiments that say grateful for you, incredibly sweet of you, a note of thanks, gracias, just lots of thank you. And I think that's going to be perfect for the inside on our background of our card. So let's stamp our background. We're going to bring in our stamping positioner and stamp this on some white cardstock. I'm going to use my black ink. Let's zoom back out a little bit so you can see better. I'm going to use my black ink to stamp the background here. And then we have a background filled with thank yous. I'm going to use the largest A2 rounded rectangle die that we use for our frame, the largest one, and then I'm going to die cut out this. This way we have room around the edges to write our sentiment. Now we're going to take our thank you background. I'm going to add some adhesive behind it. And then make sure it's right side up. We're going to place this in the center of our card, on the inside of our card. Now, of course, you're going to have to write your sentiment all around here, or on the back too, which would be really nice. But we have a background filled with thank yous. Now, before we finish off our card, I'm going to do something a little bit playful. And I'm going to bring in some googly eyes, because I think that would go perfect with our candy corn. And we will add a couple googly eyes, and I'm going to add them to the front and to the back. I'm going to add the googly eyes. The Google eyes will add a little bit of dimension since these are on the bigger side, but I don't mind dimension. But we're going to make them a little bit playful and have them a little bit wonky. Wonderful. And I did put them on both sides. And then we need a little happy face. To do the happy face, I'm just going to take a marker, a black marker here. And we're going to add a little smile, kind of a half-wit smile, off to the side. Flip it around and do the same to the other, like so. And then our card is good. All we have to do is twist. Of course, the more twists you do, the faster it will spin. And then the recipient will open the card, find your lovely message in there, and you get a fun spinning candy corn. There's a little sound to those little eyes too, which makes it fun. Let's try that one more time. Let's open up our fun little card, and that is our project today. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.